When the four Swedes burst onto the on stage at the Eurovision Song Contest 46 years ago today, they were about to become one of the biggest bands in pop history. Waterloo went on to win the competition, and for the next few years ABBA seemed unstoppable. But then at the height of their fame, just 8 years later, the group broke up and have never performed together again. When they first arrived on the music scene, ABBA was made up of two married couples, Agnetha Faltskog and Bjorn Ulvaeus, and Annie, Frid Lyngstad, and her husband Benny Andersson. But by the time the group ended its stellar time in the limelight, both were divorced, leading to bitter divisions and scars that still don't seem to have fully healed. Since the group split, Benny and Bjorn went on to write West End and Broadway smash, Chess, and Mamma Mia, Hollywood blockbuster with sequel and its own party night at the O2 in London. Benny and Bjorn wrote all of the band's smash hits and are believed to have made at least £100 million each. And the writing duo didn't turn their back on the world of pop, both launching solo careers and penning hits for British band, Steps. But at the peak of Abba's fame, Bjorn and Agnetha, who have 2 children together, broke up. Within a week he had moved on with new girlfriend, while Agnetha is said to have needed counseling after the split. Bjorn is now married to music journalist Lena Kalarsio 37 years ago and also had 2 children with her. But his divorce from Agnetha became increasingly bitter and was said to have been one of the driving forces behind their eventual split. Agnetha was already struggling with life in ABBA. She was feeling guilty about spending so much time away from her 2 young children, Linda and Peter, while the band flew around the world on their grueling tour schedule. Not only that, but Agnetha hated flying, which became more and more stressful for her. She also reportedly suffers from stage fright, as well as fear of crowds and open spaces. When the band finally called it day, she moved to cottage in the forest in her home country of Sweden. By her own admission, she became recluse with no friends. Agnetha did marry for second time, to Dr. Tomas Sonnenfeld, but it lasted just 3 years. She has rarely been seen in the public eye since Abba's split, appearing at the premiere for Mamma Mia in 2008 and being pictured with star Meryl Streep and former bandmate Annie, Frid. But there was no money shot of the 4 members of ABBA all together, and even when they did appear in the same room as her former husband, Agnetha seemed to be making sure she was as far away from him as possible. Her years of heartbreak took tragic turn when her mother Bridget committed suicide at the flat she shared with her father in 1994. Her father died just a year later. There was more devastation for the blonde singer when the man she had been dating for 2 years, truck driver Gert van der Graaf, started stalking her. He had been obsessed with Agnetha since he was child, and she had to obtain court order to have him deported to Holland. Just 3 years later he was back in Sweden, stalking the private singer, and she had to take him to court for second time. But after her appearance at the Mamma Mia premiere, Agnetha slowly started to return to public life. The following year she picked up Lifetime Achievement Award in Sweden for her work with ABBA, and by 2013 was working on new material for the first time in decades. 2 years after Agnetha and Bjorn divorced, Benny and Annie, Frid also called time on their marriage. Already married once before Annie, Frid had 2 children. Tragically, her daughter Anne-Lise Lott died in car accident in 1998. She was just 30 years old. Annie, Frid married for third time in 1992 when she tied the knot with Heinrich Russo, Prince of House of Rus, and is now good friends with the Queen of Sweden. Heartbreakingly, Heinrich died from lymphoma in 1999, and Annie, Frid now lives in London with her British boyfriend Henry Smith. She too has released solo material but never matched the success she found with her ABBA bandmates. For years the group insisted they would never reunite, with Benny once saying, "We took break in '82, and it was meant to be break. It's still break and will remain so. You'll never see us on stage again." But in 2016, at party to celebrate Benny and Bjorn's 50 years of friendship, the group reunited for the first time in almost 4 decades to perform Me and in front of the small gathered group. Then, in 2018, it was announced ABBA had recorded 2 new songs together. While the band still didn't appear on stage together, using avatars instead, it was a huge step forward. Spokeswoman Gorel Hanser said of the recording sessions, "It was like old times, easy as nothing. It didn't feel weird they hadn't been in the studio together for 35 years. It remains to be seen if the band will release more music in the future.